What is going on, guys? It is Brett. This is another Pop Culture Crisis movie review for the Netflix film The Killer, an absolutely fantastic movie written by Andrew Kevin Walker, directed by the great David Fincher, starring Michael Fassbender. And this is going to be interesting. This is a hard one for me to review because a lot of what I talk about when I review movies is that it's all about how a movie, when I leave a film, it's about how the movie makes me feel. That's really what it is to me. Look, I have a good amount of knowledge about filmmaking, and I certainly do love the technical aspects of the art form, but when I do reviews, it really comes down to how a movie made me feel leaving the theater. And this is a film that is a little bit outside of what I would normally go looking for, but I absolutely loved it. And I think it really comes down to the dialogue and the performance by Michael Fassbender, which he absolutely nails. The script on this film is essentially, the synopsis of this film is that an assassin misses a shot on a target, and those who employed him attempt to have someone he loves taken out, and then he has to go on a journey to go and figure out who those people were, exact revenge to ensure that loved one's safety. And along the way, he really learns more and more about who he is, why he does what he does. A lot of very, very interesting questions are asked. And what's really interesting about that is they do this with a very, very limited amount of dialogue, and a great amount of it, a great portion of this film is done in voiceover from Fassbender. And it really is supposed to make you think as you're watching this film. This is by no means an action film. There are a couple of action scenes in this movie. There's one very, very good, viscerally done fight scene with a character, but this is not a movie like John Wick or Jason Bourne. This is absolutely about an assassin who is going through something very, very different and questioning his choices and priorities and what he does with his life. And that's a fascinating concept, and I think they expertly pull it off here. The pacing on this movie is perfect. So this main character has a very, very slow, deliberate, methodical approach to his work, and it is echoed in the way this movie approaches its cinematography and the way that it approaches its pacing. The slow and methodical pace of this film allows you to go along on this journey with this character as he attempts to exact revenge and figure out all that he needs to figure out. And the storytelling works expertly at making you feel like you're along the ride with him. And I don't think this film works without the magnetic performance of Michael Fassbender, which is the perfect tone. He doesn't undersell it. He doesn't become a robotic, mechanical caricature of what you would imagine that character was. He has a certain presence on screen. He looks like he could be the everyman that you see at an airport, and that really fits with his line of work as he's slipping in and out of these locations unnoticed. And it really, really worked for me. The musings that he goes over, and much of what you realize about this film is there's very little dialogue, and the dialogue that's done in voiceover, a lot of it's him repeating his own work philosophy back to himself as he's doing things that pull him from the use of that philosophy in the movie. And one of the reasons I have a hard time with this is I'm not some deep critic of film or art. I am somebody who, when I go to something, it's about that emotional reaction that I get to a film. But I will tell you what this movie does that will probably make a lot of sense to the people who watch this channel is I am very, very quick to turn something off. If a movie doesn't hold my attention, I will absolutely walk away. I will walk away from television shows halfway through the time they're done. I am not somebody who is dead set on needing to finish something if I'm not entertained. And a movie like this that is so deliberately paced, that is so, it's not slow, but it's absolutely careful, and it takes every step very cautiously, but does so expertly. A movie like this, if it's not done well, could absolutely lose my attention in a very, very short amount of time, and it never does that. And I think that really does come down to when you see Fassbender on screen, you feel as if you're watching an absolute master at work. When you hear the dialogue, you realize that in scenes like that, when you write these kind of esoteric lines, it could fall apart and fail really, really fast. So for someone like me who does realize that when he's watching movies, every time a new line is delivered, I'm waiting, is this the line that's going to feel like it doesn't work? Is this the line that feels like it's going to pull me from this story. And it never does. And I think that that's a credit to the writer. I think it's a credit to the way in which the dialogue was inserted in between in scenes as he's moving from shot to shot. It's a credit to Fincher's work. The score and the songs that are woven in there, there's a lot of music from the Smiths that is because music is a big part of this guy's philosophy. So the score is very, very atmospheric, and it goes with this tone. So it continues to work throughout it, the atmospheric score. If dialogue like that goes bad, you know it right away. And this is not the same thing as a John Wick or a Jason Bourne where you're looking for a ton of action all the time. No, there's very little action in the way, but when you do see it, it's earned. And there's one great viscerally done fight scene that proves to you that this is not a superhero. This is more of a character study of what this character has become. You get to see this absolute fantastic scene with Tilda Swinton. And this is when you realize why the big actors make the money they do. You see his character. His name is literally, in the movie, his name is The Killer, and her character is The Expert. And when you see these two characters across the table from each other, he has almost no dialogue because his character is much like that throughout the film. You hear him most when he's monologuing inside his own head for you to hear. But when you hear these two across the table from each other, when you see the scene, you understand why these big actors are the names that they are, because it's absolutely fantastic. I can't recommend this movie enough. If for no other reason, then you would very rarely see me recommend a film like this. And after the weekend that I've had, so if you're watching this at a later date, this is the same weekend that Captain Marvel came out. And after a movie that just left such an absolutely awful taste in my mouth with what they've done to big budget tentpole cinema and the way that I feel in a lot of ways, it's really fallen from grace. To see that a movie like this could be as good as it was and end up on a place like Netflix, which in my opinion has not had the greatest luck with a lot of the stuff that I've ended up watching over there. I haven't been a fan of any of the Russo brothers spy thrillers or anything like that they've put over there. I haven't been a fan of the one with The Rock, Red Notice with Gal Gadot, The Rock, and Ryan Reynolds, any of that genre over there. So to see a movie like this that is very much up my alley as far as the actual material and the story ideas, to see it done so well and to see David Fincher put something like this together for Netflix, I just think it's great. And as much as we complain about the disposability of entertainment these days, which it really does feel like that a lot, to know that movies like this are going to get made and end up on these streaming services, I would have loved to have seen this film in theaters, right? So I was thinking about it the other day because Collateral is one of my favorite movies of all time, and I really do feel like movies like that, outside of the fact that it's Tom Cruise and Jamie Foxx, I feel like a lot of those movies that aren't these big budget superhero films, that aren't these stories that have just become so commonplace, the sequels, the reboots, all the things that they seem to require to end up at the theaters, that a lot of these great stories, these great character studies are going to end up on the streaming services where they're going to go to languish and die if other people don't take a chance and go and check them out. So guys, go ahead and check out The Killer. It's on Netflix right now. Watch it for Michael Fassbender's performance. Watch it for David Fincher's directing. Watch it for the expertly done pacing. It's a fantastic film. It's funny because I've been working on a list. So we've reviewed quite a few movies this year. Maybe not as many as I'd like, but we've reviewed quite a few. And I was looking to get to 10 movies that I quite enjoyed this year. And I've been stuck at 9 for a while, but I think I can finally add this one to that list. Just in the nick of time. We're here in the middle of November. So go and check out The Killer, guys. It's a fantastic film. I think you're really going to enjoy it. If you haven't watched the podcast, go ahead and check out Pop Culture Crisis. We are live right here on YouTube 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, noon Pacific. You should come and hang out with us on the podcast. We talk about all things Hollywood, entertainment, movies, TV, all that stuff. It's a lot of fun, so come and join us Monday through Friday. See you then, guys. Bye. Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.